So Raya in goal with the back three of Jorgensen, Jan. Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the evening kickoff in the Premier League and it's a West London derby as Brentford take on Chelsea. The Bees have started well in the Premier League this season, particularly at home. They have enjoyed a win against Arsenal, as well as a bit of a mistake right at the start of the match. It was a header back from Sarr going back towards his own penalty area. Chance there for Brentford to try and close that one down, but Tony just beaten to it by the goalkeeper Mendy. It's out for a throw, but that's what Brentford need to try and do. Pick off any loose balls, pick off anything that Chelsea leave inside their own half, and of course they need to try and stop Chelsea once they start trying to get forward. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and John Hogan taking you through the action. And John, this is a big task for Brentford, but a packed Community Stadium, they'll fancy their chances.
I fancy their chances looking at the teams. I mean, I'm not being funny or arch saying this, but Chelsea back three, right? Sarr, Christensen and Chalobah, well, they won't have had much game time together. We just saw there a little bit of sort of hesitation with their header back to Mendy. Why can't Mbeumo and Tony, who've been great all season, get in amongst them? And as we saw in the game against Liverpool, you know, they know when to load the box up. They know when to take their chances. They're very well organised. They've got the three big guys at the back who I feel can deal with Lukaku. You know, he's strength, but he's going to come up against somebody. Well, even if he bounces one, he's got another one in behind. I don't think it's going to be that easy then for Chelsea. I'd fancy that Brentford could sneak this.
Well, Brentford will certainly feel as though they have a chance, but right now it is Chelsea in possession, and it's N'Golo Kante crossing the halfway line. He's got options here, just a short ball to Azpilicueta, a bit of a heavy touch. Matthias Jensen picks that off him, but then Danish international just plays that a little bit too quickly. No chance for Mbeumo to control that one, and it's back now with Christensen under a bit of pressure, then rolls that ball forward and finds Kovacic. Kovacic's pass looking for Chilwell, but that's picked off, and Brentford looking for a free kick potentially in midfield there. Nothing doing referee Anthony Taylor allowing plays to go. What a lovely mazy run this is from Loftus-Cheek now. Gets to the edge of the area, finds Werner, and Werner just dwelt on that. That actually gave him half a chance to get some space at the edge of the area, but he couldn't quite get his shot away.
Yeah, I mean, Timo Werner is so disappointing, isn't he, really? A lot of money spent, but what do you get for that? Well, one thing, you get a lot of hard work, don't you, I suppose. Is he really a finisher, though? I'm not sure. Gets the odd goal. They're a little step over, but you might have known he was going to run into trouble. And you've got to give credit there to Matthias Jensen. You know, one thing for Brentford is that they're great going forward, but so many bodies they want to chase back, don't they? Jensen, Norgard, Onyeka as well. All hands to the pumps for Brentford. They're going to have to defend it like that deep and as a team. I'm sure they will. But they also support attacks as well. Not that they necessarily need too much of that, because I think Tony's is a bit like Lukaku. You can just let him get on with it. And Mbeumo's got goals in him too.
Well, here come Chelsea now down the right-hand side. It's been a quick start. I'll remind you of the 2-11s once we get a break in play. It's Lukaku now at the edge of the area, being held up by Pinnock. He goes back to Kante. Now Werner turns at the edge of the area, plays the ball along the 6-yard box. It takes a deflection, and it is out for a corner. So the Brentford 11 this evening, it's a David Raya in goal with a back three of Matthias Jorgensen, Pontus Jansson and Ethan Pinnock. The two wide men are Sergi Canos and Rico Henry. The three in midfield are Frank Onyeka, Christian Norgard and Matthias Jensen, with Brian Mbeumo and Ivan Tony as the two up front. I'll remind you of the Chelsea 11 in just a moment. We're going to see this corner kick first. It's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Ben Chilwell. Puts a lot of height on that one. Too much height. Easy claim there for David Raya, who kicks it out quickly as well, trying to start a Brentford attack, and he finds Mbeumo, who just crosses the halfway line. He tries to get away from Werner, who was tracking back. That's making the point there that John was making a moment ago about Werner's hard work. Despite Chelsea just having a corner, there he was tracking back towards the halfway line. But Chelsea's 11, it's Edouard Mendy in goal. Back three of Trevor Chalobah, Andreas Christensen and Malang Sarr. Cesar Azpilicueta and Ben Chilwell are the two wide men, with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, N'Golo Kante and Mateo Kovacic as the three in midfield, with Timo Werner and Romelu Lukaku as the two up front. The ball is out for a throw to Brentford. Challenge there from Sarr. Chance now for the Bees down the right-hand side. In fact, it has gone out for a Chelsea throw in the end. Chilwell with the throw over the heads of Lukaku. It drops here to Norgard, and now it's Canos trying to get the ball through to Tony. Onyeka trying to keep the ball alive for the Bees, but it is now Sarr playing it back to Mendy. Long clearance from the Chelsea keeper, headed forward by Ethan Pinnock. It's good work there from Jensen to find Rico Henry, and then Jensen's on the overlap and he slips just as he was getting to the edge of the area. Chalobah was trying to close him down anyway. Loftus-Cheek there just trying to step away from Norgard, who brings him down, and that will be a free kick to Chelsea. And we can see now Malang Sarr, this is his Premier League debut. And big test for him this evening against a quick Brentford side. But Chelsea already trying to put a bit of a stamp of authority down in terms of their possession here, John.
Well, they've got some good players, haven't they? And we've already seen Loftus-Cheek, mazy dribble in the middle and all that. You know, you don't need an instruction for Lukaku and players like that. I don't know if you saw Football Focus today, but there was a big spotlight on David Raya. I thought that was really interesting. But we've already seen his great ball from out the back, haven't we? And he can be used in an attacking way. He passes the ball that well. And he's really grounded, isn't he? Had some time at Southport where they were all, amateurs there. And I think he gave him a good grounding in the game. So far, I think Brentford have made a good start. And N'Golo Kante, they're trying to sneak in to the Brentford box. I look at this Chelsea team. The reason I don't fancy them today is I think that sometimes he goes a bit too defensive-minded. And it just robs them. They've got so many good attacking players. And then I look at this formation and I think it's almost like they think that this is going to be that hard of a game. They've robbed themselves of picking their talent.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's almost like the players out on the pitch realise that they have to be defensively minded because of the 11 that the managers put out. And certainly that was something that Tuchel was criticised for after that pretty flat defeat they had at home to Manchester City around 3 or 4 weeks ago, where they just never really got into the game. City with the one goal, and Chelsea couldn't really respond. But coming up to 7 minutes gone here, independent of Tube Studio commentary, goalless between Brentford and Chelsea. And it is the Bees in possession down the right-hand side. Zanka Jorgensen, free transfer, gets that ball to Raya, who just lets it go through his legs a little bit. Just got Lukaku interested, but the Bees keeper still gets it to Pinnock, who then plays it long up towards the halfway line. And Buemo claiming he was brought down there by Christensen. That little cheeky smirk there from Christensen probably tells me that he got away with one there. But Chelsea in possession now with Kovacic, back to Sarr. Christensen now being closed down, but he finds the pass to Loftus-Cheek. A lot of pressing here from Brentford, but Chelsea keeping the ball moving, although it is still inside their own half. And then there's a bit of a wayward ball there from Kovacic, a bouncing ball that Chalobah has to deal with. He's closed down by Mbeumo. Both sets of players have their hands up for the throw. It doesn't actually go out for a throw. It goes back to Trevor Chalobah, and he's able to get a much better clearance this time all the way down that right-hand side as Chelsea. Look, Pinnock hooks it up in the air. That's not a good ball. Drops straight to Lukaku, but look at that. Straight away, 3 Brentford players on the Chelsea number 9, but fair play to Lukaku, using all of his strength there to keep the ball alive here for the Blues. And then he gets that ball in towards Azpilicueta, who'd ranged forward into the box. He's dispossessed, and it's back now with Chalobah, but the pace of the game is picking up now as Chelsea just trying to find a little bit more space in that Brentford half. It's with Sarr over to Chilwell down the left-hand side, back to Malang Sarr. Doesn't fancy playing it crossfield, just goes back towards the halfway line. And now it's with Loftus-Cheek. Referee Anthony Taylor having to get away, out of the way of that pass. As Chelsea now going back towards the halfway line. And here is Christensen. Picks out a long ball down the right-hand side. Is Azpilicueta going to get there in time? Well, he couldn't get there in time to get a cross in. All he could do is hook it up in the air to make sure it goes out for a throw to Brentford rather than a goal kick. But Chelsea just trying to control the ball a little bit more now, John.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get plenty of the ball today. There's no, it's a good Chelsea team, isn't it? A sprinkling of big names and some great players in there. But I just think, where are all the attacking players? You know, it's almost like they're saying, right, back to basics. We're going to pick a defensive-minded team. We don't want to concede a goal. And we're hopeful that with the players that we've got, we can nick one. And here they are again at the edge of the area.
Well, they are with Ben Chilwell trying to get a right-footed ball in towards Kovacic. It deflects into the path of Tony, who had to drop towards the edge of his own box. And then it's a chip over from Rico Henry. And the ball is stopped there by Chalobah. There might be a second chance here for Brentford. Eventually, it's back in Chelsea possession with Sarr going down the left-hand side for Werner. Takes it down on the chest, being closed down there by Sergi Canos, who just followed through a little bit and caught Ben Chilwell. But the Bees number 7 quick to apologise, and in the meantime Brentford's central midfield already got himself the nickname of Frank the Tank there, Onyeka down on the deck, and he seems to have been caught in the face there.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? So play has to stop Anthony Taylor doing the right thing. Look at the Chelsea bench today, and It's interesting to see they've got Sal Niguez, the Atletico Madrid player, on loan. I mean, what a player he is. I also thought it was very important that they got Mason Mount back. I think he was their player of the year last year. But I think he's a go-to player for them in a normal formation. And of course, the player who played such a big part in the Champions League final, only on the bench as well, Kai Havertz, Jorginho as well, he's won at the Euros, I think. They've got lots of players that'll be thinking, well, why am I not in this team? I just think the balance is slightly wrong. Kovacic's having a really good season, isn't he? And I think Tuchel likes him a lot, certainly more so than I do. And Loftus-Cheek getting a game here where I'm thinking, maybe a Kai Havertz or a Mason Mount should be taking his place. Although, in fairness to him, Loftus-Cheek's made a good start here. Onyeka's still down on the ground, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. It was Onyeka turning, actually running into the shoulder of Loftus-Cheek, and Loftus-Cheek is a tall player. He's a very stocky player, and certainly Onyeka's not exactly a shrinking violet himself, but he really has felt the brunt of that, and he just needs a moment now to pick himself up. That Chelsea bench in full, by the way, it's a very strong bench, as John mentioned. Barkley, Hudson-Odoi, Saul Niguez, Havertz, Marcus Alonso, Mount, Reece James, Jorginho and Kepa. Arguably every one of those players, John, could actually be starting today.
Yeah, they could. I mean, there's two good teams out there, the Chelsea squad at the minute. And I think that in a way that's a problem for Thomas Tuchel. You want to keep things fresh. When you come back off an international break, you don't know who you're coming back with, who's played, who's not. You want to play a fresh team, don't you? But I think sometimes you can throw the baby out with the bathwater. All the things that they did well, say the Champions League final against Man City, I thought they threw that away recently, and I got just a bit too defensive-minded. When he came in there, Tuchel, the first thing he had to do was sort out a porous back four. And he did that, belt and braces. And then they found that because they weren't conceding, and I really like Mendy as a goalkeeper as well, that they were winning games, and that got them cohesion. But what we've noticed recently is that when it comes to the big games, he's a little bit conservative as a manager. And if they want to keep up with the Liverpools and Man Cities this season, I think you've got to know, when to be a bit bolder, when to go for it. And it does look like Brentford are about to make a change.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'll go for the Brentford bench in full very quickly. It's Christopher Ager, it's Charlie Good, Dominic Thompson, Mads Rasmussen, Sam Godos, Marcus Forss, Paris Magoma, Mads Bidstrup and the goalkeeper Alvaro Fernandez. And it does look as though it is going to be Bidstrup, I think. Either Bidstrup or Rasmussen. We'll confirm that in just a moment. Onyeka's gone off the field now, still looking a little bit groggy. I wouldn't like to say for definite that he's going to go off, but it's certainly the signs aren't good. Chelsea were in possession when play was stopped, so they're back in possession now. We're coming up to 13 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary goalless at the Brentford Community Stadium. You can just about make out those rugby union lines on the turf as well. London Irish do share this ground with Brentford. I have to say that considering how bad the pitch looked at times last season, the ground staff have done an excellent job, considering there has been rugby played on here recently. Here is Loftus-Cheek now in midfield for Chelsea, playing it to square to Kante. Over towards Chalobah. He's a centre-back on paper, but he's almost playing as an additional wing-back now. Gets the ball to Azpilicueta, now back to Kante. This is at the edge of the Brentford penalty area now. Azpilicueta back to Chalobah. And then it's with Christensen on the halfway line. Brentford really trying to play as high an offside line as they can, not to let Lukaku too close to the box. And that's good work there from Jensen, just deflects the ball off Kante. It's out for a Brentford throw.
Tell you what, I was watching the ball roll along the ground there, looking for any signs, but it's a lovely true roll of the ball. The pitch looks awesome, doesn't it, really? You can see those lines of the rugby union. I think what it is, there hasn't been much rain, so the pitch has held up really nicely. But all you need is a bit of a downpour, and then, it's going to get churned up, isn't it? But
yeah, I say come back and see this pitch in late November or December, and after there's been some rocking and mauling on it, we'll see how well it looks then. But for the time being, pitch is looking good, but the home side are struggling to get possession in now as Chelsea move forward here with Kovacic, having to go back towards Sarr. Now it's with Christensen. Ruben Loftus-Cheek looks up to try and find a long ball. All he can do is play it square now towards Kante. Now it's Werner stepping away from a Norgard. Werner gets it out to Azpilicueta. His ball into the box is deflected out by Rico Henry. And it's a throw to Chelsea now down the right-hand side. The chance here now for Chelsea. They haven't been able to work the Brentford keeper very much. It's only really been one or two crosses that Reyes had to worry about. as Azpilicueta's throw does find Kante, but then his ball finds Henry, and Rico Henry is able to clear that one towards the halfway line. No one in a red and white shirt there to pick that ball up. So Chelsea back in possession now with Sarr. Over towards the left-hand edge of the penalty area. They're looking for Chilwell. Ball just got away from him though, and he's having to play it inside now towards Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek goes forward. That's nice play there from Kante to pick up the loose ball. He's got options. Kante trying to go himself. Gets into the box. He tries to hit it with the left foot. The deflected ball still gets into the path of Chilwell. Chilwell inside the penalty area now trying to turn away from Norgard. And then Onyeka with a bit of a clumsy challenge brings down Kovacic, and that'll be a free kick to Chelsea.
A tight one, that wasn't there. There might have been a foul in that before there, but in the end, it's a good positive run from N'Golo Kante. Good little cut, and then a great challenge from Pinnock, wasn't it? Sliding in just as he was about to pull the trigger left foot. But they see plenty of the ball and in the opposition half, but you just question the players that are on there. You know, Kovacic and Kante, great players, and they can score goals and all that. But, you know, they've got a bit more attacking talent there. They're able to force Brentford back. It's bad news for the Bees so far, just been pushed back too much.
They have, and this is the first real set-piece opportunity that Chelsea have had in this game. It's on 16 minutes, and it looks like Croatian international Mateo Kovacic is the one to take it. It's certainly close enough, and it's certainly at the right angle here to suit a right-footed effort. It's just slightly over on the left-hand side. Left-footed Lukaku is there as well. He might try a sort of a real Hollywood finish into that top corner. That's what he's tried to do, and it's just wide of the top corner. You can see as soon as Lukaku was shaping, that's the kind of shot he was going to go for, but it's always hard to find that angle when in the end he's missing that top corner by some way.
Yeah, I mean, he hit it wide of the wall, and in doing that, he missed the goal for him, didn't he? I'm not over-impressed by that free kick. Went for power. You know, they'd all be lining up. There's no shortage of quality in that team, is there, to take set pieces, but I'm not sure I'd necessarily give him the next one.
Well, certainly not over on the left. He is a left footer. As I say, it seemed to be inviting for a right footer strike. That's why I thought Kovacic might have been the better man for the job. But a long clearance from Brentford and possession straight back for Chelsea. Here comes Kante now, skipping away from Jensen and finds Azpilicueta on the right-hand side. Kante carried on his run, gets all the way to the byline, then finds Werner, who breaks into the box. He goes back to Kovacic. Kovacic's cross charged down by Frank Onyeka, and it's out for a corner. Just saw a possession stat as well, John. Chelsea seeing more than 75% of the ball right now.
Yeah, I'm not overly sort of surprised by that, really. You know, Brentford, when they go forward, it's very dynamic, you know, between the two strikers. You know, you could find them 2 against 2 or 2 against 3, and that might happen a fair bit, but not for the moment.
Chilwell now with the in-swinger from the right-hand side. It's Ivan Toney with the header. Second ball there with Frank Onyeka, just stabs it forward and finds Mbeumo. And now Brentford can go on the counter. And Mbeumo being tracked here by Kovacic, trying to skip away from him. He's brought down by Kovacic. That's going to be a booking for the Chelsea number 8 as well. He's stopping a run there.
Yeah, brilliant that by Mbeumo, and that's what he does so well, doesn't he? Like I said, you know, they can go on these dynamic forays, both the two front players, and they're not frightened to go ahead, you know. Kovacic there just stuck it in, quick, slow, and then the next thing is chopping his man down. Quite right for Anthony Taylor to come across and show him a yellow card after that.
Yep, first booking of the game. It's also the first booking of the season for Kovacic. They say it won't be his last, considering his central midfield role. And now Mbeumo seems to be having a bit of a problem with his left shoulder. That's where he hit the deck. It's a free kick to Brentford over on the right-hand side. Chelsea have set up just outside the D with their offside line as well. It's Matthias Jensen standing over the ball. Toney, I think, has quite purposely stood in an offside position. Now the ball is played over towards the far post. It's Chalobah with the header. Second ball finds Ben Chilwell, but Onyeka just marshals him off the ball. And then Rico Henry playing it back to David Raya, who's strolled a long way out from his penalty area. And now he plays a huge ball over towards the right-hand side, headed forward by Sarr and out for a throw to Brentford down the right-hand side. Important now for the Bees to try and at least keep possession for a couple of minutes here, just to take the pressure off that defence as Canos leaves the ball now for Zanka Jorgensen. Looking up, he's got Jensen and Canos in front. It's just a short ball to Canos, and immediately Chilwell gets in the way. It's out for another throw.
I think the set piece could be important today for the Bees, and I think that Thomas Frank's got some good sort of inventions and ideas. You know, I thought they executed them really well against Liverpool, loading up the far side and what have you. real clever stuff. So, Chelsea are in this back three today where it's the first time we've seen Malang Sarr. He's actually made a good start to the game. But it's those little bits and pieces between who's going to go for what ball. We've seen Chalobah 6'3", Christensen 6'2". Loftus-Cheek's a big man as well. Not going to be easy for the Bees, but the Bees aren't small either. And Ethan Pinnock at 6'4", and then Jorgensen and Janssen, big targets to hit.
Absolutely, as long as they can get those set pieces, and they should have a chance. But it's Jorgensen with the throw. He gets the ball back, and it's Jorgensen putting a cross in, and Tony with the header that deflects off Chalobah, and the Bees are asking for a corner. I think they may have had their request granted there as well. It looked as though after Chalobah's header, Mendy couldn't quite keep it in play.
No, that's right. Again, we talked about the matchups, didn't we? And I didn't mention Tony. Of course, he's a big man, isn't he? And he's very difficult to deal with. I did Wolves against Brentford, and the Mark Hall it was who had to mark Tony. Too stiff a task for him, wasn't it? Wrestled him to the ground and gave away a penalty. But it's a corner kick now.
It is a corner kick. It's on the left-hand side. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinger from Jensen. Whips it in towards that near post, straight onto the head of Lukaku. Good powerful header there from the Chelsea number 9. Gets it away. Canos now sweeps up the loose ball on the right-hand side. Gets it away from Werner and then sends a left-footed cross into the box. It's Pinnock with the header. It drops to Norgard. And Buemo with the strike. It hits the post. And the second ball is away to the edge of the area. Loftus-Cheek leaves it now for Kovacic. And Chelsea go on the counter. Kovacic's ball down the left-hand side. He finds Timo Werner. Werner heading towards the penalty area. Gets away from Henry. Finds Lukaku. Tucks it into the back of the net, but it looks like there's an offside flag.
Yeah, flag up there from one end to the other. What we talked about, didn't we? Set piece for Brentford. How are they going to load the box up? At times they seem to have more than the opposition, and then the ball came bouncing back off the wall, and then typically it goes down the other end. Timo Werner putting his head down, but Lukaku's got a head of play, and you've got to give credit to the back four as well. I think it was brilliant from Rico Henry coming across, just stopping it, and then the centre-back's working out. All right, let's Lukaku, he can go, and he's offside when he scores. But before that, the ball hitting the woodwork, and that was agonising for Brentford.
Really was very close as the initial header from Pinnock. Norgard then heading in a cross goal towards Buemo, his strike off the bar, but now the Bees on the run again. It's Rico Henry who is being brought down. Referee Anthony Taylor allowed play to go on for about 10 yards or so, but then Henry was stopped again, so he brings it back for the original foul. It was Kante that grabbed him on the halfway line and then tried to trip him again. I wonder if Kante's going to get a booking for this or not.
Lucky, because I saw exactly what you saw. He ran across his back legs. Usually that's professional foul. If Rico Henry goes down there and falls down, he probably then books him, doesn't he? But he got away with that.
He did, and it's the Bees taking this free kick. We've gone past the halfway point. Just as soon as we've had this free kick, I will hand over to John for the remainder of this first half. It's Brian Mbuemo standing over the free kick. Chelsea have set up a very high offside line. He then plays it a square to Jensen. Jensen's ball into the box, looking for Pontus Janssen, and he couldn't quite get the touch on it that he needed to control it. He may have been offside as well as that ball was played to him, but in any case, it is out for a goal kick. So we've had 23 minutes at the Brentford Community Stadium. It's independent off-tube studio commentary. Brentford 0, Chelsea 0. It will be John Hogan to take us through to half-time.
Well, we've got the exact game I thought we were going to get. Chelsea are going to see a lot of the ball. They've got great players and they've got chances to score. But Brentford is so dynamic and clever with set piece, and we've seen all that. Mbuemo has come the closest, hitting the woodwork. And I don't think that Mendy's going to get that easy. He was well beaten there. And that was after when the ball was played in the box. They won the ball about 3 or 4 times against a pretty tall Chelsea team, as we've said. But Brentford are big and dynamic, and here they go again, and Buemo's not going to beat Christensen this time. Ball side-footed forward by Kovacic, but it's going to go forward here. An opportunity, but then Norgard is caught. Now the ball breaks forward for Chelsea. One thing really exciting in this game, going end-to-end, Loftus-Cheek fouled there. And I think that's a professional foul as well, but he just didn't give a yellow card the other way round when we saw N'Golo Kante do a similar sort of foul. So, again, free kick just about good enough.
Yeah, well, it's one of those where I think last season that probably does get a booking, but the referees have been told just to rein it in a little bit in terms of giving out too many cards, in terms of being harsh on a little bit of contact. It was certainly a foul, but perhaps in this current climate it wouldn't quite be a booking.
Matthias Jensen running across the back legs of Loftus-Cheek, but anyway, it is a free kick sufficient. Now it's all 25 minutes gone. At the Brentford Community Stadium, it's goalless as the ball just flung in, but Pontus Jansson is too strong there. You can't just throw a simple ball in like that. So far, Brentford's free kicks have surpassed Chelsea by quite a way, haven't they? You know, Thomas Frank has set them up. They're a team with plans. Thomas Frank knows his best 11, you know, and he puts his team out. They're going to be a back three this season. They're going to play with two strikers, and they're going to fight hard, you know. Defensive midfielders in as well, and the two dynamic strikers taking it to the opposition when they can, but they'll get supported as well. I mean, players like Onyeka want to break forward as well, don't they? And he's got a big job today, but it takes a lot of energy for him to do what he does. You know, no Shandon Baptiste either today, but they know what they're doing. You know, they set their stall out. In a way, you know, Chelsea have got great players. There was a poor ball out there. Loftus-Cheek doing well again, and now it's another free kick. But for Chelsea, this 11 will probably never play again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. He's trying a couple of new players, a couple of players that don't get regular starts. Brentford now guilty of just messing about with it at the edge of their own box, and the referee giving a free kick to Brentford there for that clumsy challenge from Norgard on Kovacic.
Yeah, it was a poor ball out from the back from David Raya that started all that. So it's a free kick again. You know, I'd like to see him hit the ball a little bit longer, really. And look for Tony's chest, you know. Anyway, they can mix it up a little bit, and, you know, they do. But playing out from the back wasn't their best friend. And it's a free kick, and this time it's not Lukaku on that left-hand side. They're opted for a right-footed striker. I think either Kovacic or Timo Werner both stood at that. Doubt it's going to be Chilwell. Kovacic it is then, and it flicks up off the wall. And it gave David Raya a bit of a problem there, but the ball hits the top of the net, and that's gone out for a corner.
It has, yeah. Once this, it's just a bit of a trailing leg there from Weymouth almost, but it looped the ball up. Meant that the goalkeeper just had to keep an eye on that one, but it does go over the bar in the end, and Brentford have to keep their wits about them for this corner.
Yep, they sure do. And like we said, Chelsea are not a small team. Thank you, Jorgensen, an enviable task of trying to keep Lukaku quiet as the ball comes in, but Tony heads away at the near post, beats Trevor Chalobah to that, and there's some big match-ups there in the attacking and defending stakes. I wouldn't like to say who's the stronger in there, because they're both massive teams, aren't they?
They are both very strong. I think possibly just because of Lukaku on his own probably counts as two players in terms of how good he can be in the air, but then certainly Janssen, Jorgensen and Pinnock I think would all fancy their chances in an aerial battle with him. But so far, Brentford had that little spell about 5 minutes ago, didn't they, where they just started to put a bit more pressure on Chelsea, but now Thomas Tuchel's side responding with a bit of possession themselves.
Keeping the ball well as Malang Sarr now, left foot raking ball forward, but he can't find a colleague, and then the ball's won in the middle of the park by the Bees, who go forward looking for Tony, tries to head it. Christensen's got that one covered, and the ball ends up back with Mendy, who is a very good keeper, the Senegalese. Not too many better than him, I don't think, in the Premier League at the minute. He rolls the ball back out to Christensen, who he's one of a sea of good Danes playing today. As Kante now is over the halfway line. And he rolls the ball back into the middle for Loftus-Cheek, who carries it away. Brentford will all go back below the halfway line to defend. They attack as a team and defend as a team, and put a lot of hard work in. It's like a good blueprint, really, for how a decent team should be in the Premier League. They all seem to know exactly what they're doing. They've got good ideas in terms of their free kicks. I like the three centre-backs they've got, three solid citizens and hard workers in the middle, and you still need talent, and they've certainly got that. But the long ball into the box there, Jorgensen gets ahead of Lukaku, the ball breaks back out to Chilwell. I think he scored last time out, didn't he, for his team, as now Loftus-Cheek, a little in and out movement, buys him half a yard. Sarr to Kante's feet, ball back to Christensen, Little ball here to the Frenchman. He's caught in possession. N'Golo Kante wins it back, though. That's what he does best, win the ball. And now with Kovacic, who flicks it left to Chilwell. Werner now has come deeper for the ball. Looking for the given goal. Ball plays slightly behind him, but then picked up again by Kovacic. Seen plenty of the ball. Ball goes right now with Chalobah. And Azpilicueta showed for him, but Rico and Henry had covered the ground there. Meant he couldn't get the ball. Sarr back into midfield. Kovacic and Werner, as ever, running deep. What's Lukaku's run like? Well, it's nowhere near where the ball went. And
yeah, well, we even saw Werner just pointing to Lukaku, saying, "Well, that's where you needed to be." Again, Chelsea with a couple of minutes there of real quick possession, moving the ball around from left to right, towards the edge of the area, back towards the halfway line. But no real end product in the end. No work for Raya in that last period.
I tell you what, if you play with Lukaku, and I'd seen him play a lot for Inter and Man United before that, and I've just thought he will naturally peel off to give him a left foot strike. But the easiest thing to do is just roll it right into his feet. Centre-back can't get near him because he's broad shoulders, and he can spin either way, and he can hit left or right foot, and he's strong enough to roll anybody. So don't put it into space for him to run at. Just roll it right at his feet, and if he can't make a turn, and then he'll lay it off. But you don't want to be working him too much and telling him you should be there. Anyway, I'm sure they'll sort that out as the season goes on, because it's getting to know you again with Lukaku. As Jorgensen plays the ball down the flank, and here again it's a chance for Mbeumo, and now there's a foul. There's a poor challenge there, and in the end,
I think Onyeka felt as though he could have been brought down seconds earlier, and there was no free kick given. He then felt embittered by that. And in the end, I think it's Canos that's got the booking there. I thought that it might have been the challenge from Onyeka that would have annoyed Anthony Taylor a little bit more. But let's have a look as this ball is played. Onyeka feels as though he might have just been bumped off the ball there. That wasn't given as a free kick. Loftus-Cheek then loses the ball. Onyeka then goes in. And I think it's Canos' reaction there as he picks the ball up. That's what he's been booked for. I'm quite surprised, because I thought Onyeka might have got a booking for the challenge itself.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought it was Mbeumo peeling down that right. It was Onyeka, and I thought it was just a good challenge to take him off the ball, actually, and Canos overreacting. And Onyeka, who'd chopped through his man anyway, was the lucky party there, really. But Anthony Taylor, quite right there. Nobody else needs to referee the game for him, as the ball is headed back from Ethan Pennock to his keeper. David Raya plays out quite well. They've got to be careful that they don't get penned in their own half, playing out from the back. Ooh, that was a risky ball. In the end, David Raya's ball is quite a good one, as now Brentford trying to get forward. Poor ball initially from Mbeumo, but it does get recycled, and here they go then. In the centre of the park is Tony, just galloping down the left flank now. Henry finds him again. He cuts around the first chance, which was a ball into the box headed away by Christiansen, but the Bees now in a little bit of ball just at the edge of the area with Norgard, and then with Jensen into midfield, looking to create something. And now they are at the edge of the area, trying to force it to Canos, but the ball's still in play, just at the edge of the area, looking for a little bit of a give and go. The ball breaks it back out now, and it's stabbed right into the hands of the goalkeeper by Mbeumo, who picked up good ground on the right-hand side. Chelsea there were just defending sort of in numbers, but a bit of ball watching from them.
They were, yeah. Everyone, if you look at that replay there, everyone's very static in a blue shirt. No one seems to be going towards the ball, and it's a waste for Mbeumo in the end. He is left-footed, so that right foot isn't as strong as his left, but that was just a cross towards the goalkeeper. There was no chance for any Brentford player to get on the end of it, and it certainly wasn't a shot either.
No, I don't quite know what he's thinking there. Caught between two ideas. And in the end, unless the ball was going to bounce back off Mendy, wouldn't help his teammates out. But, like you said, statuesque defending from Chelsea, who, just caught in their haunches there. They're better going forward, aren't they, as Chilwell now picks the ball up. No shortage of movement when they're on the ball. It's eye-catching. Chilwell now has it, and he finds Kovacic in constant movement. He is a proper water carrier. Christensen for Loftus-Cheek rolls a good ball to N'Golo Kante, who's found good ground further up the field. Azpilicueta, the skipper now. And he's on the ball, waiting for a little bit more movement. Finds Timo Werner, but he'd come from an offside position and just a little bit too over-elaborate there. Werner, he's in constant motion as well, but he'd come from an offside position.
Yeah, he has, and just a little bit disappointed perhaps that A, that Werner was coming back from that position, and B, that Azpilicueta perhaps didn't spot that, because it was pretty clear that Werner was a little bit ahead of play there. But Brentford certainly won't mind. It just gives them a bit of possession now. And I think overall, after 35 minutes that we've nearly had now in this game, Thomas Tuchel will be disappointed that his side, despite having long spells of real lion's share of possession, just haven't been able to do anything with it.
Listen, do you know what? They've had 67% possession. They've had exactly the same amount of shots, and for my money, you're saying, we're saying that there's 2 shots off target, but of course Brentford hit the post. Brentford have gone closer. I suggested I fancied Brentford today, and I still do. Chelsea seen as much of the ball as I thought they would, but do they have that killer instinct? Need to get more ball to Lukaku. He certainly has. And here they're playing through midfield, and some great sort of individual performances out there. But they don't look really cohesive as a team just yet, Chelsea. Here comes Chalobah. And decent looking ball, perhaps slightly overhit, but David Raya's onto that like a flash. Comes and slides out, and the German can make no further progress there. But for me, it's the likes of Havertz and Mount, the real misses out of this team. They've got too many similar sorts of players in there. Tony fights for the ball, but Chilwell does well enough this time. Off Tony's head, goes straight out for a throw. It's
straight out for a throw. Disappointing there from Tony that he couldn't keep that ball in Brentford's possession. You can see both managers, Thomas Frank and Thomas Tuchel, just trying to get some instructions out to their players. And after that throw from Chilwell, it looked like Brentford might have had the ball back, but Kovacic keeps it alive here for Chelsea. I think from Chelsea's point of view, what they need to do is to just have a little bit more invention when they're in that final third. They've had enough possession to trouble Brentford. They're just not doing enough with it. There's a long ball now over the top here for Chilwell.
And then the chance for Werner, and he slams that ball right-footed over the top. Killer instinct. They paid a lot of money for him. For me, I can't get on with him. I know he works hard and all that, but I just don't think he's got that killer instinct.
I think that at one stage last season, you could almost toss a coin as to which one of the 2 German star names was struggling more at Chelsea, whether it was Werner or Havertz, because both of them really just couldn't bed down in the team at all. I think both of them are still struggling, but probably Werner just shades it in terms of offering that little bit more on the pitch. But, both of them, before they arrived at Stamford Bridge, were far more confident players than what we've seen so far, whether it's just a case of them being out of position or just not being able to acclimatise to the English game, but it's been a struggle for both of them at times.
Well, I said the Champions League final, Kai Havertz is a proper marathon runner. He gets on the end of lots of ball, and at the start of the season when they first got him, he was getting on the ball a lot and kept passing to the opposition, and because he shows up for the ball all the time, he looked terrible. You couldn't get him off the ball, he couldn't find a teammate. He kept doing that again and again. But I thought, having seen him before, I thought they've got a cracking player. And once he settles down, and of course, played his part in a Champions League final victory, didn't he? His name goes down in folklore even before he's really begun. But he had a terrible start. For Timo Werner, it's a different story. I just think that this kid, you throw so much mud at the wall, and because he gets there to get his chance, you sort of almost forgive how many he misses. But he misses a rake, doesn't he? And he needs to be more clinical playing for Chelsea. Here they go. Timo Werner through again. This time trying to find Lukaku. He doesn't find him. Again, that should be at least 1-0. But he can't make it stick. It's the killer moments. And he just comes up with the wrong thing at the wrong time. Too often for my money. That should have been Brentford, conceding a goal there, I felt.
Should have been. The way that ball moved into the middle of the penalty area, there seemed to be enough space there to try and do something with it. Just again, that final touch, that final ball, letting them down. But it's been a strong end to this second half from Chelsea, with the Bees really struggling to get out of their own half right now.
Yeah, they've got a good stamp of player out there. All athletes, these Chelsea players, they're getting on the ball an awful lot. Like I said, when they're on the ball, the movement by them is great. When they've had some defending to do, they've been pretty static at times. But, Brentford have come as close as anybody by hitting the post, but Werner's miss and then his inability to find Lukaku or score when he was in the area has hurt Chelsea big style. As again, he's looking for a through ball again, I think we're going to get a glimpse of their last real chance. Through ball. And again, I'm thinking, shield the ball and have a go. He's going to be on his right foot. I think he's got time there. Henry's running away from him. If he just stands still, settles himself down, gets his head over the ball, I think he can get his shot away anyway. Corner kick comes now. Really good punch by David Ryan, and the ball further scraped away. Werner recycles it. Chilwell a chance to sling the ball in the mixer again. Raya comes out. Really good take by the Spaniard. Comes and cleans that ball out.
Goes straight through towards Raya. Now this is where Brentford need to just think now. With 5 minutes to go in this first half, they've got to try and just keep that ball away from Chelsea as much as possible. He responded well after the first 15-20 minutes, where Chelsea really were starting to control the ball almost exclusively at one point. There was a spell of about 5 minutes where Brentford actually had more possession. That was a spell where they also hit the post. But from that situation hitting the post, Chelsea went up the other end and had a goal disallowed for offside. So it has been a tight game in terms of there hasn't been too many chances, but the first half seems to have flown by quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the more possession for Chelsea and all that, and at that point, both teams had 2 chances each. You know, Brentford have hit the post, but in reality, I think Chelsea have been the better team in the half. You know, they've created more. And had Werner got his shooting boots on or his cool, calm head on, then maybe Chelsea would have taken the lead. But there we go. One of those things. Brentford did definitely in the game. Here's Kovacic now. Little side foot ball. Not enough finesse. And N'Golo Kante was the man running through, trying to get on the end of that. He's good at doing that, N'Golo Kante. But I don't want to see him there. Do you know what I mean? Havertz there. We talked about the stack of players that they've got who can pick up those sorts of runs, who it's a more natural game for. I don't understand what they're doing today, really, at Chelsea. And anyway, they've got a bit of defending to do, and they're doing that quite well with the Chalobah to Azpilicueta. Anyway, a long ball forward now. We haven't even mentioned Ziyech, have we? You know, there's just looking at the squad, I mean, it's just embarrassing, really, how many good players they've got who...
Oh, yeah, and add to that the injured Christian Pulisic is up. But here comes Mbuemo now for Brentford. Good challenge there, though, from Sarr, putting it out for a throw. Yeah,
he got across well there, didn't he? Quite a fan of Rudiger as well. I think he plays his part. I covered the Man City-Chelsea game this season. I fancied Man City before a ball was kicked. I just thought they'll have revenge on their mind. And remember De Bruyne's game in the Champions League final, cut short after running into the brick wall that is Antonio Rudiger, and you just thought that they had revenge on their mind, and they certainly had their game faces on in that game. But anyway, Chelsea today in a funny kind of 11, but they're playing all right. Ball to the far post, maybe an opportunity here, but Norgard rising fairly high. I think that came off a Chelsea defender then. It looks like they've given a corner kick.
Looks like Asco had been gone out for a corner kick there. Chilwell looking a little bit perplexed there towards the linesman, but Brentford certainly won't mind this, having spent the last 15 minutes pretty much penned in inside their own half. Great chance here now to trouble Chelsea from the set piece. The delivery's got to be just right.
Chelsea load up that far post, don't they? We saw that against Liverpool. Liverpool didn't learn their lesson, did they? Got caught twice. But anyway, can Mbuemo get the right delivery? Going to be left-footed in-swing it from the right-hand side. And the roof's going to come off the Brentford Community Stadium if this hits the back of the net in this West London derby.
Yeah, Tony just being told off there for perhaps being a little bit too physical with Azpilicueta, but here comes the ball in now.
Comes in, but there is Mendy. He's such a solid citizen in there.
He is an excellent goalkeeper, but I mean that he gets harder crosses than that in the warm-up. I mean that ball was floated to him. It didn't even have any whip, didn't have any curl on it, and it was an easy save for the Chelsea keeper.
Yeah, it was. Came out, commanded it. He wasn't really under pressure, was he? Sometimes you see them run through even their own defenders, but that was a good, easy, clean take for him. Hasn't had much to do, has he? Here's Kovacic now, finds a lot of space to run into, trying to force the ball forward. Where's the finesse? It's difficult playing that ball. I'm talking about playing it straight to Lukaku's feet. They still haven't worked it out, his own players. You know, don't roll it in front of him. He wanted it to feet there, and he's got half a chance to turn Zanka left or right and get his shot away. That's his strength, right into his feet. You know, I think they're missing a trick already. Anyway, and here they come again. Here's another opportunity. N'Golo Kante this time plays it to his feet. Can he get it out with his feet? Lukaku at the edge of the area. Little step over. And then a little scoop to find Timo Werner. He puts him outside the box. He's held up by Canos, who keeps him honest there. The ball goes back to Chilwell. Chelsea on the attack. Trying to nick a goal before the break with Kovacic now. Werner, he's left unmarked. Dances into the box. Little right foot cross. That's headed away by Rico Henry at the far post. Under pressure. Chalobah gets the ball back and he runs away from Tony. They recycle the ball well. Loftus-Cheek. And again, an opportunity here with N'Golo Kante. Can he cut the ball back into the box? Well, Azpilicueta puts the ball in. Lukaku dabs a foot. The shot comes in and he's smashed into the back of the net. And it's Chilwell who scored again. Brentford 0, Chelsea 1. And it's a beautiful strike by the left back, Ben Chilwell.
It is a great strike from Ben Chilwell. Brentford almost holding on until half-time, but just the sheer weight of Chelsea possession. Every time that Chelsea have gone forward, Brentford have been able to get to that second ball. There's not been too much of a rebound. There have not been too many half chances for Chelsea after the initial cross was stopped. But on this occasion there was. It was Azpilicueta who just flicked the ball out to Kante. And Chilwell is crying for the ball right from that moment when the ball is crossed into Lukaku. And no Brentford player picks him up. He's standing there inside the D. Nobody closes him down. It drops perfectly onto his left. It's a superb strike. Absolutely puts his laces through it. But perhaps from Brentford's point of view, they should have done just a little bit more to stop him getting that shot away in the first place.
Absolutely. I mean, he's left unmarked. He's in prime location there, isn't he? He virtually stood in the D. He doesn't have to lose a marker. He walks into the middle and waits for the ball to come for him. You know, Jensen should have been looking over his shoulder, and Buemo's chased back to a certain degree, but he's marking nobody at that point, and he could have walked across to mark him. That's really disappointing from a Brentford point of view, because we talk about how they are as a team, working hard for each other. Tony flicks the ball on now, but he can't reach him, Buemo, and that ball drops into the hands of Mendy. Chelsea been the better team undoubtedly, but it was a pretty good strike as well from Chilwell, who has been starved of first-team action, really. You know, it might have been a dream move, but it's still difficult to get past Alonso into the team. It's Chelsea, isn't it? You know, you're not gifted game time with them. Here, maybe an opportunity, and it's a good little break from Onyeka. Tries to force the ball into the edge of the area, but he can't quite manage that. Kovacic picks up the ball, but then he gives it away, and maybe a chance now. But Canos cannot get that ball. Poor ball to him, and now Timo Werner is going to get the run on Ethan Pinnock, and off he goes. And he's too quick for Pinnock here. Tries to get the cross in. Pinnock's fought back there, and again, he's just not able to make it stick there. I thought Werner, having got ahead of Pinnock, should just try to keep the ball and keep ahead of him. Here's Mbeumo, edge of the area. Ball from Brentford now behind Tony and inside the box. In and out the box now, Tony. Going to lay that ball back to Canos, who tries to play it through the legs of Loftus-Cheek. And then Tony's won his side. A throw-in. Not seen much of the ball this first half, Ivan Tony. Last thing now is going to be probably a long throw-in just before the break. It's Brentford 0, Chelsea 1. We're in added time. We've already gone past our allotted time, and I don't think Anthony Taylor will do anything other. In fact, it might be a free kick.
I think he has been given as a free kick in there. There was just a bit of a push as that ball was going out, and it has been given as a free kick. So this is, as you say, this is over. By the time this free kick is taken, it'll be over a minute after we should have finished this first half. So this is bonus time for Brentford, and they have to use it.
Last chance saloon then in the half. Can they get something back? Anyway, here we go. Long ball in from Jensen. Near post header. Contested there. The ball may be bouncing out for a corner kick there. I'm not sure the referee's going to allow him to play that. No, he doesn't. And so, at the break, it's Brentford 0, Chelsea 1, and it's Ben Chilwell's goal that separates the two.